Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do a Superman Action Comics number 1004 by DC Comics. Beautiful looking cover with a lot of shininess by Steve Root. Steve Root, well, look him up. He's great. He did a lot of work through the ages for DC and even Marvel, I believe. And it's none other than written by Brian Michael Bendis, the man who destroyed Superman. I mean, that's, well, not destroyed, but it's the run of Superman. I mean, it was very bombastic when DC revealed that Bendis was coming. And you know, when I had a comic and every time that ad came up and I said, you know, fuck you, Bendis, well, there's a reason why I said that. He indeed destroyed, in my opinion, Superman. He did so many changes that ruined the continuity and did so much damage. And just articles all over the place and videos. If you are want to know what's actually happened or what his damage is, just look it up. But a couple of examples. Probably the most atrocious thing that he has done is aging up Jon Kent. There was a comic called Super Sons that was very popular and people were really into that, and they I mean, Damian Wayne and Jon Kent had a really good dynamic with each other, and it's very good written years ago. And then Bendis said, now let's not do that. Let's age him up. So, and why? Because, well, somehow DC Comics is hell-bent on changing and characters and get rid of the originals, right? As soon as possible. So that means Jon Kent must be the new Superman, right? Out with the old, in with the new. Well, that's not how it all went down, because Jon Kent was not really a character that people could identify with. You know, they feel cheated because, yeah, what Bendis has done. And there's a lot of other stuff. Like, you remember that Krypton was blown up? You know, and everybody knows the story why. Well, Bendis says, screw it. Let's throw 80 years of continuity into the trash and alienate a lot of people who were, you know, riding that wave of continuity. He didn't care about that. So he created a character called Rogol-Zar. And Rogol-Zar was, you know, responsible, apparently, for the destruction of Krypton. You know, altering Krypton's origins and fates, and that's what Bendis has done, and, you know, alienating a lot of Superman fans. That's just laziness. I mean, I'm so sick of, you know, modern writers, because, you know, although Brian Michael Bendis is not modern, but, you know, he's going with the modern stuff, that writers need to change origins all the time. I mean, there was, I believe, a comic from Batman that... also, you know, his parents died. Come out of the theater. It was just a guy, a criminal, shoot his parents and created then Batman in the process, right? It was tragic, but it was an accident, and then a tragic accident, but an accident. But no. Modern writers want to go in there and say, hey, you know what? Let's have the criminal work for an organization. And that organization is now responsible for the death of Bruce Wayne's parents and such. Come on, just leave it alone. You know, the origins are perfect, but somehow they all need to change that somehow. I don't know, man. And is the way that he writes is, well, I'm gonna show you. For also, what's here? Burn Bendis? Yeah, you dream on, dude. That's never going to happen. Ever. Also, Naomi, another failed character. You know, agenda-pushing characters. It's not going to work. So let's dive in. What is this comic is all about? Well, this is a good question. So we see here Clark Kent on the Daily Planet, and they are going to run a story about Red Mist, I believe, or Red Cloud. She's a new baddie in town. She's murdering people, etc. And they wanted to do some kind of a story about that, right? Okay. So he talks to this. There's a lot of new people in the Daily Planet. They introduce some characters here and there. This particular person comes back. I know who the Red Cloud is, by the way. And then Perry says, hey, you can't come in, right? Now, if you pause the video, read the dialogue, right? I'm coming back to that a little bit later. So there's another character called Trish. Trish is a hired gossip news reporter or something, maybe for Cloud and Clicks. And she showed a picture of Lex Luthor on the doorstep of Lois Lane. And then we see Superman's face. All right, okay. He's a little bit in shock. So, and then she tries to get under his skin. Why? I don't know. Well, she said, what is your first feelings? Ambushed. And said, Q quit or out, says Perry. I'm sorry they trained you like this at the Times, but this is not how we speak to each other. But this is real news. Oh, we're running the picture. The caption will read, award-winning reporter and ex-president meet. That's all I see. So, and he also, Perry says, I'm used to people do what I say. So if I say go out, just go out. You know, he did that with Jimmy all the time. And Clark is here just shocked somehow. Not sure why. I mean, it's not that Lois and Lex Luthor haven't met up through the years and that, you know, Superman knows that. I mean, Clark knows that. But he acts like this is some kind of a big, shocking revelation, which is weird. But then also Perry says, what the hell is she doing? I had another gossip columnist against every instinct in our body. All while the while thinking, how could she be any worse than Cat Grant was? And I swear, all she does is snoop around you. Can I fire her? What kind of question is that, Perry? Of course you can fire her. But it seems, like I said, I missed a couple of issues. So somebody, a mystery woman, took over Daily Planet. Who? Don't know. And why she is a mystery woman? Don't know. And he's talking and talking and talking. Then Superman is being mopey. And he says, does it have a balcony? Okay, and then I believe there's a flashback, I guess? Last night. So he flies and he says Lois, and Lois is, you know, walking there, and then this is happening. Now, why does she has a wig on? I don't know. Why is Superman kissing her on the street? I do not know. I know that they are married, but why does Superman kiss her or both so publicly? I cannot remember that they did that a lot or on purpose. Well, maybe a couple of times here and there. But, you know, people are staring and they are talking, right? Nothing wrong with talking. But Superman says, how long have you been back? And then she avoids that question. He says, John is safe. Your father is this unbelievable piece of work. I was not safe out there, so I came back. What happened? You were right. It was deep out of space. It wasn't safe at all. And I was beginning to make it not safe for them. Why didn't you come home? Yeah, good question, you know. So she looks away and she says, people are looking. And then Superman asks, can I take you away? Normally Superman just lifts her up in the sky and takes her away. Why do you ask? So she says, I have a room in town. Does it have a balcony? Oh, baby, of course it does. What? Okay, let me turn up some light here. Just a second. Is this better? Yeah, it's slightly better. So they are lying in bed and they, I don't know, have a great night or evening. And so Soup says, hey, I lost our communication device in battle with this creature that may or may not have destroyed Krypton, with a smiling face. So they are talking and talking and talking. And so he says, hey, is John okay? All right. And then more talking. So she's looking very happy and says, baby, he came alive. First of all, it was like hit puberty the second we left orbit. Oh, Superman says. So it was the best thing that ever happened to him. Your creepy father was right. Jon needed to get out of here, and Jon did not need me. Right. Superman says he did. Maybe we needed you just to follow him up there and get him started. I thought it too. But then she talks about that, yeah, that's not necessary. He did it all by himself because he's the bestest Superman ever, or something like that. And it's like, pushing his bicycle along with him until he can pedal himself. Yeah, maybe. And because you never had a bicycle and only vaguely know what a bicycle even is? What kind of question is that? What do you mean Superman doesn't know what a bicycle is? What, dude? And then he makes some jokes. I've seen them around. I think Batman has one. Bat beams. Where is this going? So then he asked the question again. Why didn't you come home for the second time? So she says, well, I love this life we have had. I chose to be a wife and a mother and I regret nothing. But, so basically she said that she doesn't feel, basically she says, this is, what we have is not a normal life. And, we are not anything close to a normal family. And she is struggling to keep the whole thing together, and that she needs the room for herself, and she needs to write, and that's the reason that she was gone and not come home. What? And then, with all the serious stuff here, if you can call it serious, she says, now, for the first time in a long time, my son doesn't need me. My husband doesn't need me. And baby, I have a story to write. And Superman says, I need you. No, you don't need me. You want me. And so he says, I need you. So basically, the whole conversation gives a 180 because Superman wants to have sex with her. Yes. So we talk about nothing. Then a serious question comes on. And then she's having, I don't know, some kind of a marriage crisis here. And Superman is acting like a weak, domesticated dog through this whole comic. Doesn't make any decisions. Just listen, getting whipped. His demeanor, his facial expressions. It's also why don't you put him down, right? Put him out of his misery. He's pathetic. And then, I listened to your story, but now I want to have sex, right? Oh, wow. So, okay, cool. And she says, okay, we are not breaking up. We just both have important work to do. You mean like fixing your marriage, maybe? No. She talks about writing and he doing the Superman stuff, etc. So he goes away real quick because he needs to do Superman stuff. Right? Okay. Then, fuck you, Bendis. And then he comes back and he says, hey, what did we talk about? You're going to convince me how normal we are. Why does he need to do that? And then we're going to figure this out, how to do this. But for now, I have to write. You have to save everything you can get your hands on. Okay. So coming back, still here like a whipped dog in this closet. And then here's the sound. And then a villain called Copperhead, I guess. I saw her before, and I believe she's maybe in an animated movie, I guess. I'm not entirely sure anymore. She has been offended, because that's what people in 2018 and now still do. People are getting offended 24/7. So it seems, I guess, this columnist, this journalist, has say some piece about her, and she says, oh, words hurt, words matter, you people don't understand, blah, 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 blah. And you're ruining my life. So Superman comes and just drags her away, and she says, hey, are you all right? Do you need a psychiatrist? And he talks to Perry and Jimmy and said, hey, how you guys doing, right? So Copperhead is here in jail with a lot of Flash villains, although I do not recognize this one. And more talking and talking and talking. And then this. The good old days. The good old days, Superman. So you telling me, Michael Brian Bendis, that the event, probably the most important event in DC Comics, that has been headlining news, papers, media, in real life, about the death of Superman, you know, people talked about for months, and you make it a joke about that and say, hey, did you know where I died? Those were the good old days, right? Am I right? And then he looks at, I don't know, fourth breaking wall stuff, or looking at Jimmy in a very sarcastic way. What the fuck is this? This is insulting. This is really insulting. So, and then the story again goes nowhere. And he says, and how are you, Miss Good? Keeping on? Good. And you look on the red cloud. We're working on it. And then he says, Red Cloud, really? There's something about them murdering Metropolis mobsters. Thanks again, Superman. Any cancer. So he does the X-ray vision. And then he goes away. And then Lois here with this article. So Superman comes in and says, how did he even know you were, how do you even know where you were, and even I didn't? So Lois says, I heard he's really smart. In fact, I think he told me that himself numerous times. Honestly, I expect you to be right behind him. So, again, Superman asked a serious question. What did he want? He wanted to know if you'd done anything really embarrassing lately that he could use. What? Uh-huh, says Superman. He heard about my book and was rightly concerned. What did you say? What kind of conversation is this? So, basically, says, I said very frankly that I was certain that he didn't go away. My husband would eventually dropkick into the sun. And I really think everyone would be fine with it. That's sweet. Well, to be fair, I was missed big talk because I thought you were right behind there somewhere. You just already said that many times. Or once before. So did he. He left. He's smart. And then, I don't know, talk about the book. And he said, hey, can I read your book? He says, no, I can't. But Cat Grant read it first. So another person read it before he. It's trash. It's trash. The story, whatever this is, I deliberately made a video about this, not because I think it's fun or engaging or smart written. This is an example what modern comics represents. And there's way worse out there, by the way. But this is an example that, what have we learned today? What is the story about? What is this comic about? So, except that Clark Kent and Kal-El, also known as Superman, is a mopey guy. I mean, it reminds me of, you know, the writing of Tom King when he destroyed Batman and other characters into, you know, because he inserting his own depression in that, in those stories. And now we have mopey, insecure Superman with marriage crises and conversations that goes nowhere. You know, asking a straight to the point question, and then we get no answers. We get just dribble. It's really bad. I mean, beautiful cover, great art by Ryan Sook, but where this is going? This is going nowhere. This is a flagship character, you know? And Brian Michael Bendis, I know exactly why people dislike his Superman run. Because I read a couple of these comics, and they're all the same. It goes nowhere. It's just repeating certain lines over and over again with a slightly different outcome. Like, hey, how you doing? I'm okay. Yeah, are you sure you're okay? Yes, I'm okay. Glad you are okay. You know, stuff like that. It's just dribble. It's just bad writing. And I'm glad he's gone. But, you know, unfortunately, he did a lot of Superman comics. And, yeah, it shows. It shows how bad it is. And, yeah, that brings me to the end of this video, guys. Guys, let me know what you think about this. Leave a comment, leave a like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you like my content and like what you see. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.